Before we get started, I do kind of want to put a disclaimer on this video. I had it already planned and stuff before it came out with the whole Activision Blizzard, like, horrible scandal slash lawsuit slash just grossness. If you don't know anything about that, I would highly recommend looking on Wowhead at the different articles that they have, because they've been able to really keep up with what's been going on. But basically, it came out that Blizzard has been apparently really horrible towards women for like the last 10 years. But I still wanted to make this video anyway, because regardless of what the asshats at Blizzard has done, there's still a lot of people there that just, this game means a lot to them, and it's their job, and I really love what they've been able to do, and what the game means to them, and what the game means to all of the fans, and all of the people who've really claimed it as a second home. So because of that, Sylvanas still means a lot to me, and World of Warcraft still means a lot to me, so I don't know, I'm still really proud of this cosplay, and I just wanted to go over kind of how I made it. I'm back with another cosplay walkthrough to show y'all how I made my Sylvanas cosplay from World of Warcraft. First thing I did was I bought Kinpatsu Cosplay's patterns, because I did not want to make my own patterns myself for this, and you know, why do the work when someone else has already done it and I can support them. Never underestimate how long it takes to assemble and tape patterns, because holy crap, I think it took me 2 hours to get everything from like printed, taped, cut out, and like on the foam. Once I had all my base pieces, I glued them all together and tried them all on to make sure that they fit. When I got everything just right, I started adding in the details. I used 1/2 inch 10mm foam strips for all of the details, and with some of them I also did use foam clay, unlike my bracers, because they were a little bit smaller and a little bit finer, but for the most part it was the 10mm foam strips that I glued on, and then I dremeled them down. That took forever. And it was after this cosplay that I realized that such a thing existed as beveled foam strips, and I feel so stupid, but it's fine. After hours of dremeling, I heat sealed everything to make sure that it was good. I got off all the little fuzzy bits, and I used foam clay to patch any areas that either had been cut or missed or just didn't look great. Since I use EVA formats, they have an odd bumpy texture underneath, which can make it a little bit difficult to affix certain pieces together, such as the 10mm foam strips. So I do have to go around and kind of patch everything on those, because it just looks a little weird. There'll be like odd little gaps on stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're using foam mats, that you're going to have gaps. You're going to need to either reinforce something, or you're going to need to be able to go in and hide it. Once that was done, I added my zipper attachments as well as any 3D printed details. For the zippers, I sew a 1-inch band of fabric on either side of the zipper. Then I super glue it to the spot that I need it on the foam armor. Once the glue is dried, I actually go back in and sew the whole thing down. I've destroyed many needles by doing this, but I have found in the end that it's very durable. I've tried to literally rip it off, and it won't come off, so it's really worth the pain and the suffering that comes from sewing through super glue, but it makes it really stable. For the 3D printed pieces, I cut areas that they would fit into, I hot glued them in, and then if I need to fill any kind of gap, I just cover it all with foam clay. For the shoulders, I had a lot of spikes and I had a lot of the skulls on it, in order to make it where those items didn't bruise up my shoulders, because the 3D printed stuff was very pointy and sharp on the underside. I covered it with fabric underneath. Once everything was finished, I primed it with Plasti Dip and I painted it all with acrylic paint. To weather it, I smeared black paint over all the different creases and corners, and then I just had to sit there and rub it off with my hands. My hands turned completely black while doing this, because it's very, very messy. It's nothing like rub and buff or airbrushing. It just goes everywhere. Once that was done, I sealed everything with a resin sealer and added the final attachments to the shoulders to hold them on. For the gloves, I purchased the pleather brown glove off Amazon, and I hot glued the finger claws to it. Those quickly fell off, and I realized that hot glue does not stick to pleather, and so I used super glue instead, and it worked like a charm. The cloak was made with fabric from my local hobby store. I just kind of bunched it up how I thought it would look with the cloak, and then I just kind of cut out a whole area and made a hood with a really bad pattern, but it worked. To make the ends all ragged, I just kind of cut them out, and I used a wire brush to kind of make them all fuzzy. And then for the hood itself, I cut 2 holes in it so that my ears would stick through. For now, the cloak is just attached to my cosplay with safety pins, because I haven't figured out 100% how I want to attach it. So it's not super great, but it works. The boots I thrifted, and I'm not going to add any extra details to them because I use them for a lot of my cosplays, and I really don't want to have them permanently be my Sylvanas shoes. The black tights themselves were from Amazon, and the corset that I have is actually from an Etsy shop. Once the whole cosplay was done, I tried it on, and it broke. it was really disheartening. I had multiple pieces that broke on me or just didn't sit right, even after I had tried it on multiple times. It was really hard to move around in it, and I won't lie, I set it aside on my dresser and I just didn't touch it for months because I was so mad at it. Sylvanas has been my dream cosplay since I started playing WoW and I got into cosplay, which is over 10 years ago at this point, so it was really upsetting to have it kind of fall apart around me, so to speak. I did wind up picking it back up again, obviously, and I fixed all of the issues by using elastic to stabilize certain pieces so that they wouldn't flop around as much, and to use it to just reinforce certain pieces that were coming apart. I also was able to tighten the bands on the shoulders so that they sat a little bit better on me, and I forced my husband to help me with the cosplay so that I wouldn't be alone trying to take photos and move around in it, because that's not a good idea. So if counting repair time, Sylvanas took around 55 to 65 hours and around $400 to $425 US to make. Is this the best cosplay ever? No, but this is the best one that I've made so far, and I am really proud of it. Sylvanas is the 9th armor set that I've ever made in the past 2 years since I've been doing foam crafting. 2020 kind of gave me a really fun time because I just kind of went nuts with making this stuff, so I feel like I was able to cram in what probably would have been 5 to 6 years of normal time because my work schedule into like 1 solid year. I still have a long way to go before I'm at the level of foam crafting that I want to be at, but I will say, looking back on my very first project compared to Sylvanas, I have grown a ton. And even just from like when I started on my first piece for Sylvanas and when I finished the last piece for Sylvanas, there's enough of a difference that I can tell that I have grown as an artist. If you want to see some more Sylvanas, check out my Patreon. I have a ton of work in progress things. I have some of my 3D files, patterns, and just other photos and little things about my cosplay that I did while I was working on it. So if you're interested in any kind of walkthroughs and stuff like that, that's going to be over there. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you all next time.